The newest season of Doctor Who is in full swing, and I gotta be honest, I'm really liking it so far. I like it a lot. I think it's a better start to the season than the previous season. Now, normally, under normal circumstances, I'd have weekly reviews of every single episode that I upload about a couple of days after they aired, but I've ran into some problems with the current season. Originally, what I thought I was gonna do was something new, fresh, and exciting. I was gonna live react to the episodes. I was gonna film myself reacting to the entire episode and just edit it out all the boring parts, the parts where I'm not really doing much, and just have shorter live reactions to each episode with an extra few minutes of just me reviewing what I just saw. But I did it for the first episode of the season, and I uploaded it, and it immediately got blocked because the BBC can do that, and they do it a lot. So I disputed it, and for a few days, I mean, the blockade kind of got lifted, and it actually got a few views. But then my dispute was rejected by the BBC, and it got blocked all over again. And then the second episode also got blocked, and this time they didn't even accept my dispute. They kind of rejected it right away, so it didn't even get to see the light of day. And then by the time I did it for the third episode, I recorded it all, but it never went through the editing process because I was just so bummed at what happened to the previous two episodes. Like, it just really knocked all the wind out of my sails to the point where for the first episode I didn't even record myself watching it for the first time, which sucks to me because I think it's the best one of the bunch so far. It's my favorite in the season so far. So yeah, looks like I'm not going to be doing live reactions to the episodes anytime soon because, the BBC like to play hardball. Maybe I'll do a big compilation of some of the best reactions to all the episodes from the season, minus episode 4, for obvious reasons, which I just mentioned. Just do it once the season is over, if, of course, the BBC will kindly allow me to have content on my channel at all. But I figured what I probably should do, because I haven't really got a chance to share my thoughts on the season so far on my channel, I'm just going to go through each episode and just quickly share my thoughts on them in a mini review, and then kind of give my thoughts on where I think this season is heading, and give a bit of an update to some other Doctor Who related stuff that I've been wanting to do for a while and just didn't really get around to it. So, here we go. Episode 1, The Robot Revolution. I really like it. I think it was a much better start to the season than Space Babies was for the previous season. Now, Space Babies kind of grew on me, but I mean, it's still just... It's Space Babies. I mean, the title pretty much says it all. It wasn't planned to be anything special beyond just the novelty of having Space Babies. Now, the Robot Revolution, I think, was a really good way to start the season. I mean, it pretty much sets up the new companion and the new seasonal arc beautifully. However, I do think at times all the setup kind of takes over and overshadows the main story just a bit. Not too much. This is kind of an ongoing problem that I'm noticing this season, is that the episodes seem to be a little too short, or rather, not as long as they perhaps should be. I definitely think this episode could have benefited a lot from being just a few minutes longer. Not a whole lot, just, a bit more than 50 minutes, because this episode was about around 45-ish minutes, especially for the season premiere. I think it should have been a bit longer, but overall, like I said, the setup was done beautifully, and the actual episode was really good. I mean, it's the classic Doctor Who tropes that we've grown to love so much with this show. I mean, crazy, ridiculous concepts like, who knew that that trend from like a few years ago where people were buying planets allegedly and buying land on the moon and gifting it to loved ones would end up becoming something like this one day. And you know what? It's the perfect concept to base a Doctor Who episode on, and I love that they did that. The planet itself, the Miss Belinda Chandra world, looked incredible. The robots looked amazing. Some of the human-ish characters were a bit bland and one-dimensional, and the villain was kind of meh. But I mean, it had some great action. The bonding between the Doctor and a companion, and the chemistry between Ncuti Gatwa and Verda Sethu is so strong that it compensates for the episode's shortcomings a little bit. And there's a couple of inconsistencies in the story here and there, but overall, a very, very solid first episode for the season. Now, episode 2, Lux, that was my most anticipated of this season. As immediately after I saw the first trailer for this season, that was the one I was most looking forward to, and it did not disappoint in the slightest. Mr. Ringading stole the show in every scene he was in. Problem is, though, he wasn't in as many scenes as I would have liked, as I kind of hoped that he would be. He was still great every time he was on screen, but again, I just wish the episode was a bit longer where we got to see more of the character. Now, as far as some of the stuff not involving the character, like the continued bonding between the Doctor and Belinda Chandra, in that whole weird, trippy thing that with the animation and jumping through the movies and actually exiting through the fourth wall and into the fans' living room as they were watching the show, that was great. I really liked that. I think that staying at the fans' place kind of went on for a bit too long, which could have been. You could have cut some of that to give more screen time to Mr. Ringading. Just saying, but I think it was done very well in a very good and satisfying way, and it's the closest that the modern series has ever gotten to replicating the Land of Fiction from the classic series, which, like, how has that not been a thing yet? Especially for the 15th Doctor. Like, that seems so up the alley of what Russell T Davies is trying to do with this era of the Doctor. It's like, it's perfect. It's right there. So I don't understand why they haven't done that. But it's entirely possible that just like Sutek in the previous season, it's already done. It's the season finale, and I'm just too stupid to notice it. I didn't connect the dots together well enough, just like I did last season, and when everyone figured it out, it was Sutek, except for this guy. But that's just me. As for the next episode, The Well, pretty much almost no complaints about. I mean, it was not an episode I was expecting to like too much, even though it's kind of a return to the Doctor Who roots of finding a mysterious planet, an ambiguous monster, and a crew of red shirts to get killed off in horrible ways. I mean, action. You really don't need to say anything else beyond that. But I mean, the fact that they connected it to Midnight, which, by the way, for those of you who know me, that is by far one of my least favorite Doctor Who episodes of all time. And somehow, I really liked this episode. It really worked for me in a way that Midnight never could and never did. And I love that they had the flashback for the 10th Doctor. I love that ever since the reintroduction of the Toymaker, they keep doing this whenever they bring back old enemies of the Doctor. I love that. I wish they keep doing that. And well, I mean, evidently they're still doing it, so good job. But yeah, I again, the crew of red shirts, I mean, they had about as much character development as was necessary for them. The main guy that gets killed, you know what? It's kind of hard to say this, but kind of deserved it. And I really like the heroic sacrifice of the woman in charge by the end of the episode. I mean, the monster. I love that they still don't show us what the monster is, and yet they still somehow manage to keep the threat and the fear of whatever the hell this creature is. And I really love that they incorporated the woman who has a hearing disability into the episode, and like I love how relevant it was to the story. Obviously, as soon as the last survivor happens to have a hearing disability, it kind of becomes obvious that whatever killed all those people was operating on sound, and that's why she survived. But still, I like the way that they incorporated it into the story, and Russell D really did have a lot of creative high points in this episode. Now, by this point, I kind of already noticed a bunch of similarities to Russell T Davies's third season, which he did with David Tennant and Freema Agyeman. I mean, remember when Millie Gibson was first announced as Ruby Sunday and people were already comparing her to Rose Tyler for stupid, but then again, understandable reasons? And then when Verda Sethu was introduced as the new companion, people were already comparing her to Martha Jones. I mean, like, oh look, the Doctor left behind the hot blonde bombshell in favor of this woman of color who happens to be slightly more mature. And oh look, she works at a hospital. So yeah, lots of similarities there. And then when the episodes actually started rolling out, I personally noticed a lot of similarities between the new episodes and the first few episodes with Martha, to the point where I actually made a meme about it. So yeah, clearly, if I notice these things, you probably have as well, because as we established already in this video, I'm kind of stupid when it comes to this stuff. But that being said, I'm not saying this as a negative on the way Russell T Davies is choosing to roll these stories out. In fact, it's quite the opposite. I think there's a pattern here, and if we follow the pattern, we might get a hint at where this season is going, particularly if you couldn't already tell with the whole Mrs. Flood situation. So, I mean, if this season basically started very, very similar to the way the first Martha season started, does that mean that this is the season we're going to get the Master by the end for the season finale? Because that's kind of where the Master made his debut in the modern series. I mean, maybe, but still, and this is kind of connected to one of the issues I have with this new season. There are only 8 episodes, so you can't really compare each episode individually. But I mean, at least I was able to do that for the first 3. But then you go into the 4th episode, Lucky Day, which I'll say this again, is still my favorite of the season so far. At first, it kind of starts off like a knockoff of Love and Monsters, which is weird because it's the only episode in the season that wasn't completely written by Russell T Davies. It was written by Pete McTeague, as opposed to Love and Monsters, which was actually written by Russell T Davies. Sort of. But yeah, it basically starts off as a Love and Monsters knockoff, but then by the halfway point, it just takes a complete U-turn and becomes a completely different thing. It becomes a full-on unit story, and in fact, one of the better unit stories we've had in a while. And definitely the most badass that Kate Stewart has been in years. Like, good job for Kate Stewart for standing up for herself and doing what she did in that episode, because, oh boy, the Doctor may not be proud, but I'm pretty sure Daddy Dearest would be in that moment. So yeah, I really enjoyed that. I mean, this is easily the closest that the modern unit on TV has been to the unit in the Big Finish series, which I mean, it's basically the same unit. So yeah, it's nice to see that the TV show is finally catching up to the audios in that sense. And oh my goodness, it was probably the darkest the Doctor has been in this incarnation since his bi-generation. This is by far, Ncuti Gat was darkest moment as the Doctor, and I love it. I'm loving this. I'm really enjoying Ncuti Gatwa as the Doctor now. Now, as for the next episode, which we've already seen teases of in the next time teaser, I mean, this is exactly what I was hoping to get from this Doctor Who series once they cast Ncuti Gatwa. I mean, you're going to the beautiful country of Nigeria. You got these culturally appropriate clothes and stories from the country of Nigeria, and it looks like, at least from the teaser trailer, that he's basically gonna be fighting Anansi, the spider god. I mean, that's at least what I'm guessing from just seeing that thing. But I mean, hey, maybe Anansi is part of the pantheon. Maybe he's one of the gods. Maybe he's the god of stories. Who knows? Who knows? But yeah, so like I said, the season is really, really strong so far. I'm really liking where it goes. As for reviews for some of the other episodes, maybe I'll do something like this once the season ends. Maybe I'll do individual stuff. I don't know. I mean, I had a plan for the season, and it got crushed by the BBC. So I'm not really sure what I'm going to do now, because there are a couple episodes I'm really looking forward to this season. But yeah. As for the mystery of Mrs. Flood, I mean, I can't for the life of me remember if I said who I think the character is. Maybe I should do a full-on video about the topic, but I like that we're now getting her in every episode, like a Stan Lee cameo almost. But I think I might have preferred it if she was more spread out throughout the episode, as opposed to just always being saved for the ending, for like the last scene in each episode, with the exception of the first episode, obviously. But like, I get it. I mean, it kind of goes back to the previous season with the Beatles episode, with the whole "there's always a twist at the end, and she's the twist." Yeah, but again, I kind of wish that she was a bit more spread out throughout the episode. That her Stan Lee cameo, if you will, was kind of more spaced out, as opposed to just because now that I know that she's only showing up at the end, I'm expecting it, as opposed to her just popping up completely unannounced without me realizing it. And hey, again, maybe that's what happens in the next episode. I don't know, because I've been terrible at predicting these things lately. But that's my bit of criticism regarding Mrs. Flood. As far as where I think the season goes, like I said, I mean, I'm thinking it's pretty obvious that the Master is coming back, because of the pattern I noticed in the first 3 episodes. Again, of course, I could be completely wrong here. Maybe, and you know what? It's kind of hard to tell at this point. Is Mrs. Flood really the Master, like some people have been saying? Is she someone else? Are we probably never going to know who Mrs. Flood is? Or maybe Russell T is just saving it for the last episode of Ncuti Gatwa, period. Like, after Ncuti Gatwa is replaced by whoever comes up next after, which I hope will be in a very, very long time from now, because I'm really enjoying Ncuti Gatwa as a Doctor at the moment. But yeah, these are my thoughts on the season so far, and where I think the season might be going. Now, I've been waiting on this for a while, and I guess it's time to finally rip open the Band-Aid and do it. And what better way to do this than in this video, sorry. Some of you may have noticed that I stopped, well, the 3 of you that have been watching Doctor Who Revisited may have noticed that I stopped uploading reviews for that series. There is a reason for that, and it's probably not the one you're thinking of. So basically, I kept watching it to do the reviews about it, and I watched all the way to like halfway through the first season of Peter Davison's first season. But that was a kind of, I believe the last episode I watched was Kinda, right before I had my trip to Toronto last year in around August. It's been months now. But I've recorded a lot, and I mean a lot of footage prior to leaving for Toronto, and I've even edited a lot of those episodes so that I was going to have plenty to upload every single week to the channel for again the 4.5 people who were actually interested in that series, who actually got the views. I mean, obviously the series never really got any views worth mentioning to begin with, but I still kept on doing it because it was consistent. It was something I wanted to do and something I was actually enjoying to do. Never mind. But, and this is again another big but here. So I was using it on StreamYard, that on a shared StreamYard that I had with my friends that I used to do shows with back in the day, back in the old days, when we had a nice tightly knit group. But I mean, we kind of all drifted apart for a variety of different ways. Me and my good buddy Soda continued to make videos using that right up until our trip to Toronto, where we both met. But we kind of stopped doing that after a while, and the StreamYard account was his, and he forgot the password for it. So we just basically canceled the account, and a lot of the footage that I had shot, and again, all the way up to the Peter Davison era, it all got scrapped. Like, it's unrecoverable. Now, at the moment, as it stands, I have episodes are already done and in the can all the way up to Image of the Fendal, which I believe is 2 episodes after the last upload I did, which was Horror of Fangrock, which I stopped uploading those episodes because of the Eurovision stuff, and I did reactions to every single Eurovision song every day for like a month and a bit, I think. So naturally, I didn't upload I stopped uploading the Doctor Who Revisited stuff because I didn't want it to clash with the Eurovision stuff that I was doing. But now that I'm done with the Eurovision stuff, I was planning to do the live reactions to the Doctor Who seasons, the Doctor Who episodes this season, and I already explained why that got cut. So what I think I'm gonna do is, once this Doctor Who season is over, because I still want to capitalize on the season being, ongoing, what I'm going to do, I think, is I'm going to upload the last 2 episodes I still have in the can, and then, because I still kind of want to finish my rewatch, I was doing it not just for content, but I was also doing it for myself. I want to finish my rewatch, so begrudgingly, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back and rewatch the episodes that I've already watched and recorded reviews for, but they all got scrapped. So I'm gonna pick back up where I left off, which is right after Image of the Fendal, and well, I hope the series is gonna stay consistent. Probably won't, but I feel like that's the only thing I can do right now. I was planning to do live reactions to those episodes, because I mean, I've already watched them recently, and I've already talked about them and already did reviews for them. They just, never made it to the editing process. So I was hoping to do live reactions to them and just, share my thoughts, and I hope that would be easier. But if the BBC continues to block these things, I am just going to have to resort to doing it, from my point of view, the hard way, which is just talking about them after the fact and editing the reviews together, and whatever happens. So yeah, again, hopefully the season is going to look consistent. Hopefully I can still match the same level of energy that I had in the previous episodes. that I recorded before the Toronto trip. But yeah, not making any promises. But on the bright side, though, almost no one's gonna watch them anyway, so it doesn't really matter. So at least I'm gonna do that for my own fun and my own enjoyment. Yeah. So this has been several minutes of just me talking randomly about Doctor Who and some of the stuff that I wanted to do for Doctor Who for this channel and was unable to for a wide variety of reasons, almost like the universe doesn't want me to talk about Doctor Who. But you know what? When the universe tells me something, I always go the other way around. So, yeah, this has been me. Thank you for watching, and thank you for listening to my rant as far as I can, as far as I could go. This is, yeah, this has been a minor update on Doctor Who, the season, and Doctor Who Revisited, my flagship series. So, yeah. Hopefully, I didn't bore you too much. Thank you for watching if you have, and if you're still watching till this point, thank you. And I'll see you whenever I can do anything related to Doctor Who that doesn't get blocked by the BBC. Goodbye for now. I'm on Z. Hi there. Thank you for watching the video. And if you enjoyed it, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and tell your friends. I'll see you next time.